there. Today we're going to go in more depth about the surgery and the hospital stay. I'm here with Christopher again, since he played a big part in this whole section of the surgery recovery.
It's kind of where my journey begins.
I forgot to mention in the last video about the surgery prep that I also had to get all my piercings taken out professionally, because I had some surface piercings, and my surgery was actually done with an electric scalpel, which is crazy. And so, you know, conductive metal, couldn't have any metal in the body. So we subbed it out for glass pieces. Maybe your surgeon won't use a electric scalpel, so it might not be an issue for you.
And more or less it had to do with the electricity.
Yeah.
The fact that it was an electrical scalpel.
And that they couldn't guarantee that it wasn't going to burn my skin.
Yep. So the surgery, you know, you go in for the surgery, right, the morning of, and that was a long surgery. How long was it?
10 hours.
10-hour surgery.
Yep.
And I did not stay in the hospital. I went back home, and I was getting some texts from the hospital periodically about the updates until they said that she was going to come out, and I went back to the hospital and waited for a while. There was some complications, not complications, but they, you know, had to approach your surgery a little bit different because of your size.
Yeah, my size, I'm really small, and so my weight put me in the child range of weight, and so I had to get 5 hours of antibiotics, blood work, and all that stuff. They do more blood panel when you get there, just to like extra check if you're cool
A lot of precautions.
and healthy. During the hospital stay, you have to get blood work consistently to make sure like all your levels are staying at what they're supposed to, and your kidney functions, and your like metabolic panel, and that you're eating fine, and all these. There's a lot of different things that they check blood work wise while you're in the hospital. So they have to like stick you multiple times, and I ended up getting like 17 pokes my whole stay. There's a lot.
So the day after was really when, you know, 'cause I saw you for a little bit, and then the next day after the surgery, I came for the visiting hours, and you were kind of what, incapacitated?
Literally just, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk very well, I couldn't move, I was in so much pain, so I basically couldn't do anything.
Almost like you were just paralyzed from the neck down, from the pain, from the surgery. So there was a lot of things that were there to assist you in this, such as?
You have to get 2 IVs because there's different channels of what they need it for. I had these leg compressors on my legs that would like blow up and deflate just to like get the blood flowing in your legs, because they were afraid of blood clots for circulation. I had breathing tubes, I had a catheter, I had a drainage thing in the back of my spine for drainage in the incision. I was basically hooked up to a bunch of different things.
A lot of things coming in and out of you.
Yeah, fluids, medications.
And that was pretty much the first day and a half or so. Was it like
I
the
think
next?
I was also getting nutrition because I couldn't eat.
Exactly.
So I think I was getting my nutrition through my IV as well.
Yep, for the first like 48 hours probably, right?
I think so, yeah, because I was not eating, and the medication made me so nauseated, and it hurt to eat, it hurt to move, so they had to give me my fluids. I basically just had protein shakes the whole time there. It was just too much to eat.
Plus
so I would just sip on my protein shake.
Yeah, and then plus it was just the lack of appetite really from the pain medication. There was a lot of side effects that was hard to decipher.
And I was even throwing up on them. It was just not a good time.
Right. It was hard to decipher like what's going on, and it turns out a lot of the things you're experiencing was, you know, repercussions and side effects of all the drugs that you were taking. You know, because you're not somebody that really does any of these, you know, pharmaceutical drugs at all. And one thing you said you wanted to mention too about an alternative way, one of the things to help in the process that's more natural, because we both agreed going into this that there's going to be no way whatsoever that anything natural or homeopathic was going to be able to help with the pain, the level of pain from this. So we just kind of bit the bullet and had to do the pharmaceuticals. But one thing that did help for you that you might want to pass on to other people if you're trying to choose a more natural path.
When you are taking a lot of pain medication, a very common side effect is constipation, and so they wanted to prescribe me these different kinds of things for constipation issues, and I don't really, A, none of them really work for me, and B, I just wanted to get the least amount of chemicals in my body possible, and so I just do prunes, and prunes work really well for me. Some people do prune juice, some people like figs, I don't know, different sorts of fiber, but prunes are the ones that work the best for me.
So
tip.
Yeah, and then that sort of, can bring us to the point of what the second day is when they started to unplug some of these things to you?
Yeah, so I got the catheter and the drainage thing taken out the second or third day. So I just had the lead compressors, but I had the lead compressors the entire time because that's a big issue.
Blood clots.
Blood clots.
Yeah.
I had a lot of pillows all over the place on the bed. I had them underneath my back.
Right, there was a special way that they had you.
Yep, they're called cradle pillows. So you kind of put them halfway underneath your back, and then another one halfway underneath your back to like give you extra support.
And you had pillows under your
knees. Yep, I had pillows under my knees. I had to have like my neck a certain way. It's just a lot of pillows.
Ice packs.
A lot of ice packs.
Yep.
Heating packs.
Yep.
I mainly did ice in the hospital, but because like you weren't allowed to do heat for the first while. So yeah, ice for the first few weeks I think I had. Another thing is I woke up pretty much not being able to breathe, and so you have an oxygen tube, and once that gets off, I think I had that for like 2 days or something. So we had to use a spirometer, which is this. They'll show you how to use it in the hospital. Basically it just helps kind of train your lungs to start working again, since they kind of dealt a lot of damage in the surgery. So it's kind of like small steps working up to breathing normally again.
And that was kind of the first little indication and a little clue as to how much reconstructing somebody's spine will be connected to so much of your daily life. The fact that it really wasn't the surgery.
I couldn't even move my arms or legs, like moving anything hurt, moving my head hurt. I was literally just looking around. Another thing when I woke up from the surgery is my entire torso pretty much was numb, and that's really scary because nerves are a scary thing. Once they get damaged, it's really hard to, get them back. The surgeon did say that the nerves would be the last thing to come back.
And which they still have not totally come back yet, have
yes, they still have not totally come back. I have some that have come back. So because I was totally out of this process, I don't really remember a ton of it because I was on so many pain pills and I was really sleeping and just out of it from pain. So that's why he's here to tell more about his part of this.
And this is really where my role started, was here at that, the first day after the surgery. And my role there, I saw, was to just sort of oversee things and make sure that her needs were being met, and to pay attention. That's my advice, because if the person with you in the hospital, to have somebody that's consistent, from the beginning, because you got people visiting, coming and going, you need to have one person that's designated to be your caregiver, advocate, or whatever you want to say, that can pay attention to this whole process. Because I found that what I was really doing there was paying attention to how the nurses were interacting with her, and like, how are they helping her out of the bed, and changing the ice packs and moving, adjusting the pillows. What were the ways that they were doing this that would cause the least amount of pain, or what were the best ways to do this? So I was really focused on trying to be as observant as possible to find out how they were doing these things, because that was going to be me in a few days. That I was going to have to pick up from that. And so because when they kick you out of the hospital, they don't go with you. You become so dependent upon them in the hospital. It's like you just hit a button and bam, they're there. And again, my role too was to make sure that all of her needs were being met, and to the best of the abilities. And while I was there too, there was times when, say, the nurses couldn't come, or I didn't really need to, buzz the nurse to do that. So that's where I started to learn how to help her out of the bed and then help her to, the bathroom, and to go to the bathroom and to do those types of movements needed for that, just these daily activities.
Which also include like unplugging the machines and like learning about how those machines hook back up and stuff, so the machines wouldn't beep at us and make the nurse come in. So
yeah,
it's just about paying attention.
Yeah, paying attention and trying to pick up as much as you possibly can to make that person's life easier when you get out. So pay attention to the little things that are needed for your person's daily needs and daily activities, so that it's almost kind of a routine thing, that it's just second nature to know how to lift them, know where to touch, know how they can't bend. All of those little types of mechanical needs, so that's second nature to you, because during the recovery process, there are going to be challenges that come up that are going to tax you and are going to demand all of your attention. And you do not want to be stressing out about trying to solve something that's unforeseeable and helping this person up or changing their ice packs, or how do I do this, or how can you sit, So really being prepared, I think, is what we want to stress the most as possible. And I think this is a big reason why you wanted to do this video too, was that
to help people know more information, know what will help them be prepared.
Yeah, and you got some literature, and you're learning from the group that you're involved with on Facebook, that your literature was pretty detailed, and there's a lot of people out there who like, wow, I didn't get this information
at
all.
And I was like, oh man, that really sucks.
But even still, that information, once you get into the real world with it's thrown out the window.
Really wasn't even.
It was nothing
helpful at all. So the book that I got it was detailed, but not in the way that would have been helpful. So like it didn't, and you'll see this as the series goes on. It just didn't really give the kind of information that I felt like would be more helpful.
Yeah, but it's very theoretical, and it's written from the perspective of
someone that has not gone through this.
Exactly. People who have designed the training and designed the things based upon the theories and based upon, from a mechanical standpoint, this is what is supposed to be good. But I don't think somebody who actually had the surgery wrote this at all.
No, because it definitely would have been written differently.
Very different.
So,
yeah.
And to be fair, I had kind of a unique situation in some senses, so mine was worse than it was predicted to be, but still.
I don't think that it's that negates the whole being prepared and paying attention. I think those are universal things that can apply to everybody. Don't just put the responsibility of your recovery or your care in the hands of other people. Yes, they're trained professionals and they know what they're doing. That doesn't mean you should just step back and just sort of put it on autopilot, and then especially like with the home care too. And anything that I was drawing upon to help make her recovery less terrible was what I picked up on in the hospital.
So one other thing before you leave the hospital is you have to relearn how to like lay down on the bed and get up from the bed and sit down on a chair and sit down on the toilet and sit down or just do different things. You have to learn
a lot of things that you take for granted that you don't even think about, that are second nature, that is muscle memory of just sitting down and go to the bathroom. It really
or even just sitting up and going up, because you have to do a log roll and get up that way versus like just how you normally would get up, I guess. I don't know.
And I think that the culmination of the overwhelmingness of zooming in to how much being 20 odd years old, you've had 20 years of walking around and getting up and doing things and functioning as a human being, and then all of a sudden you just hit this brick wall of guess what?
Weird experience. And then also I forgot to mention the balance. Like the first time you get up out of the hospital bed, you're just like, I don't know how to walk again. It's literally going through learning how to walk again.
That is something that you brought up throughout this whole recovery process many times.
Your balance is completely adjusted.
Yeah. This
And
whole
so you have to
process really
learn.
is almost like being born again.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, yours was a very, very, extensive
Yeah,
surgery.
and I had surgery twice.
Yep, and
in
it was
like
very
4 days.
11 stages,
11
levels,
yeah.
11 levels of things that were going on in there. And again, maybe not everybody's is as extreme as this, but
Or more extreme.
hey, the spine is a big deal, and
It
everything
is.
is connected to the spine. So
It
even
is.
if you have like 2 levels done, I can't imagine that your balance,
Is going to be the same.
yeah, it's not going to be affected.
Mine was completely different because my upper torso was shifted from my hips 4 inches.
But your center of gravity is not where it was when you
Yeah.
before this surgery.
Yeah,
So when
it's
you
crazy.
yeah, it's like you went to sleep one day and your center of gravity is one place, and then you woke up one day.
Basically you wake up in a different body. That's
There you go.
exactly what it was like.
Yeah.
And then you have to learn how to
Yep.
walk again in that body. You have to learn how to get up in that
Yeah.
body. You have to learn how to like just do everything all over again. Even like breathing, I had to learn how to do again. I had to learn how to move my muscles again and how to walk again and how to do all this stuff. It's a really weird feeling because you don't remember going through these stages as a baby. You just did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to experience this as an adult.
Right.
Well, thanks for watching. I think that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next video where we are going to talk about the recovery when we get home, which is
That's where the real fun begins.
That's where it really gets rough.
Yeah, you thought that the surgery in the hospital was going to be rough?
That was
No,
the easy
that was
part.
a cakewalk.
That was the easy part for me.
Yeah, because that was only 10 days.
That was only 10 days.
Now we're going to talk about the next 7 months.
So here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned. Subscribe, like. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I'm here. Okay, bye.